Title: The Stranger in the Ceiling, the murder of Danielle Henson in a quiet suburb of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. In the spring of 2001, 25-year-old Danielle Henson lived alone in a modest second-floor apartment. She was a recent college graduate, working as a graphic designer, friendly, responsible, and had no known enemies. So when she didn't show up for work on a Monday morning, and then failed to return calls or answer the door, her friends knew something was wrong. What investigators discovered in Danielle's apartment would spark one of the most disturbing and bizarre true crime cases in the state's history. It involved a hidden killer, secret crawl spaces, and a haunting truth that no one saw coming. The disappearance: Danielle had last been seen on Friday evening, April 13th, after having dinner with co-workers. She told a friend she was excited for a quiet weekend to work on a freelance design project. When she missed work on Monday, her boss called her emergency contact, her sister, Katie Henson, who immediately drove to Danielle's place. The front door was locked. Nothing seemed out of place from the outside. Katie called the police. When officers arrived and gained entry, everything inside appeared eerily normal. Her keys and purse were on the counter, the TV remote was on the couch, and her phone was on its charger. The only strange thing was the smell, faint but sour, like something decaying. There was no sign of forced entry, but Danielle was gone. The search: police launched a missing person investigation. Canine units were brought in, but found no scent trail leading outside the apartment. Neighbors were questioned. No one reported screams, break-ins, or suspicious activity. The back of the building had a small maintenance door leading to a crawl space in the attic. It had been sealed shut for years. One officer mentioned a faint scraping sound above the ceiling panels in the hallway, but it was dismissed, probably rats. A week passed. Then two. No activity on Danielle's credit cards or phone. No surveillance footage. No ransom call. It was like she had vanished into thin air. The break in the case: on April 29th, 16 days after Danielle disappeared, the upstairs neighbor called 911. They said they heard a loud thump from the attic, followed by what sounded like coughing. When police responded, they searched the entire building again. This time, an officer noticed something odd. A ceiling tile in the hallway outside Danielle's apartment was slightly out of place. They climbed up. Inside the narrow crawl space, surrounded by insulation and beams, they found a mattress, water bottles, food wrappers, and a collection of women's clothing. Some of it belonged to Danielle. And next to the mattress was Danielle's partially decomposed body, wrapped in a bedsheet. But she hadn't been alone. In the far corner of the attic was a man, alive, filthy, and armed with a hammer. He lunged at the officers but was subdued and arrested. His name was Curtis Brumfield, 35 years old. Who was Curtis Brumfield? Curtis was a former tenant of the same apartment building. He had lived there 2 years earlier but had been evicted for failing to pay rent. What the landlord and current tenants didn't know was that Curtis never really left. He had discovered that the crawl space above the building was accessible through a vent behind the laundry machines. Over months, he created a small, hidden lair in the attic. He would descend at night through ceiling panels, stealing food, and even watching tenants while they slept. Curtis had become obsessed with Danielle. Police later found hundreds of photos of her in his crawl space, taken without her. Knowledge through vents and small peepholes he made in her ceiling. On the night of April 13th, Curtis had entered her apartment while she slept. There were signs of a struggle. Danielle had likely woken up and tried to run, but Curtis strangled her. Then, he hoisted her body into the attic and continued to live above her apartment for days afterward. The aftermath: the autopsy confirmed Danielle had died from manual strangulation. She had defensive wounds. She fought back. Curtis Brumfield was charged with first-degree murder, unlawful entry, and abuse of a corpse. During interrogation, he confessed in chilling detail. He claimed he loved Danielle and had just wanted to be close to her, saying, "I was already living with her. She just didn't know it yet." He was found mentally competent to stand trial and was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Reflection: the case made national headlines. It inspired numerous documentaries and podcasts, including Dateline NBC, and even a dramatized episode of Criminal Minds. To this day, Danielle's story serves as a terrifying reminder of how even the safest homes can harbor hidden threats, and how sometimes the danger isn't outside your door, but already inside your walls.